Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 6, printed in House Report number 114-155, offered by Mr. Schiff of California.
Pursuant to House Resolution 315, the gentleman from California, Mr. Schiff, and a member opposed will each control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California.
Mr. Chairman, my amendment would strike the sections of the bill which would undermine the administration's ability to close the prison at Guantanamo by transferring the remaining detainees to the United States for further disposition of their cases, or to third countries that agree to accept them, secure them, and monitor them. I'm grateful that my colleague Adam Smith, the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee, has joined me in urging the House to make this important change to the bill. Every day that it remains open, the prison at Guantanamo Bay damages the United States. Because there are other, better options for the prosecution and detention of these inmates, we are not safer for Guantanamo's existence. In fact, it makes us more vulnerable by drawing new recruits to the jihad. The Congress, the administration, and the military can work together to find a solution that protects our people, even as we maintain our principles and devotion to the rule of law. Under the provisions included in this bill, the administration would be barred from transferring Guantanamo detainees to a war zone. While I agree that it would be foolhardy to seek to send a detainee to Yemen while that country is immersed in civil war, the definition of war zone used here is derived from the U.S. tax code and is extremely broad, ruling out countries like Jordan, for example, that have either successfully resettled and monitored former detainees or demonstrated a genuine commitment to doing so. These provisions also prevent the administration from transferring Guantanamo detainees to the United States for further proceedings under the military commission's process or for trial in an Article III court. The Department of Justice and our courts have proven themselves time and time again to be more than capable of handling the toughest terrorism cases, and doing so in a way that ennobles us and sets an example to the world that a great nation can both safeguard its people and the rule of law. As a practical matter, our civilian courts have proven much more adept at handling these cases than the military commission's process has. In fact, this past Friday, a 3-judge panel of the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, one of the most important appellate courts in the nation, further struck down the legality of commission charges, so narrowing the jurisdiction of the military commissions themselves that any utility as an alternative to Article III courts has been called into further question. And while Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his fellow Guantanamo terrorists still await their date with justice, a host of others, including Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, Umar Farouk Abdul Matab, the underwear bomber, and Faisal Shahzad, the Times Square bomber, have been tried, convicted, and sent to ADX Florence, the toughest prison in America. They are gone, and they are not coming back. The inclusion of these provisions is the first time that restrictions related to Guantanamo have been included in the Intelligence Authorization Act, and I believe that alone sets an unfortunate precedent that could undermine what has been a largely bipartisan effort. These provisions are unnecessary and unwise, and they don't belong in this bill. I urge the House to reconsider these provisions, to trust in American justice, diplomacy, and the best military advice, and to give the administration the means to shutter a prison that both shames us and perpetuates the threat to the nation. I thank you, and I reserve the balance of my time.